It's the Brian and Kendra Show with Brian Cook and Kendra Cox of Keller Williams Realty Elite.
I am Kendra Cox.
I'm Brian Cook.
Between the two of us, we have over 30 years of experience.
Sharing real estate tips and advice. Right here on Classic Hits 1073.
We're back.
Okay, are you ready?
I am. This is
So
hilarious.
you really wanted to do this last week.
Yes.
You really wanted to talk about horrifying home design trends of 2021 edition last week.
Because of Halloween.
Because of Halloween. But then I forgot that we had somebody coming on the radio. Sorry about that. Yeah. Thanks for letting me come back to work on Friday. So we didn't get to. So today we're going to talk about some horrifying things. But
yes.
Actually, we're probably going to just change direction totally in the middle. But some things that I thought were funny on this list. You thought this was funny.
Yes.
The first thing on the list that says it's a horrifying home trend of 2021, barn doors.
Yep. They say they're leaving. They're
They're
vanishing
on their way
quickly.
out. What did you do yesterday?
We put in a barn door yesterday. Now what? Now what do I do?
So here's the deal, because like when Brian and I go look at houses together, like it'll be like this 1960s house. I miss Laura whenever I say this because Laura is just like me. Like it'll be a 1960s house and it'll have like that plastic, I don't know what that is, like plastic window material that's like green or orange with the circles, and I'll be like, oh, I love that so much. And everybody else is like, that has got to go. So I'm all about, if you love it, you keep it until it's time to sell, and just recognize not everybody loves plastic things in the windows.
Right. Or barn doors.
It's not the windows. What are they called? Like in the cabinet doors. So not everybody's gonna love your barn door. Actually, right now though, Woodward, they still mostly love the barn door.
Yep.
The other thing that was fun, open kitchen shelving.
I never thought that was popular.
I love the way it looks in the pictures. It would never fly at my house because you know what we drink out of?
Yeah.
Plastic cups, like Keller Williams.
That's right.
Y'all got your Eskimo Joes. I got my
Yes.
Keller Williams
Yes.
cups. So, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all.
You need a full set of red ones. That would make it prettier.
Well, mine right now are red and blue. I've still got some rib crib ones too. So, yeah, they're all different colors. That's my preference. Now, my daughter, when she moved out, she's like, I need glass glasses. I don't like those things that you have at your house. I said, well, I raised you that way.
It makes me nervous because I'm used to plastic, and at the office we have all glass ones, and I'm like, I'm going to break one of these.
I hate
gonna
them.
Be over.
I just drink out of my little coffee cup because I know I can hold on to that good.
Yes.
All right, and then nautical motifs run amok. Now, it's just fun to say.
Yes.
I mean, who really says that? And did you know amok is spelled A-M-O-K?
I did not.
I knew you didn't. That's why I said it.
All that.
Anyway,
in fact, I misspelled almost 3 of those 4 words, probably.
Like, I really don't see very many nautical themes.
I don't see nautical themes in Northwest Oklahoma.
Not so much.
I wonder if it's like in Florida they do nautical, and in Northwest Oklahoma we do farm and ranch, farmhouse, ranching, western.
Maybe, I don't know. And then all white interiors. And I was thinking on the way over, I cannot think of a house in Woodward that we have shown with all white interior.
You know what?
So really, I just feel like this stuff is not for us. Like, toss it. Let's talk about real horrifying stories.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first and foremost, this one's near and dear to my heart. What is it?
Tree roots.
Tree roots in your sewer line. Wow.
Yes. Which is horrifying.
I just want to say, y'all can poop at my house.
Because
I have a new sewer line.
Not because you're invited.
I say that all the time, and Brian goes, that would make me really uncomfortable. Okay, well, I didn't mean it literally. I just wanted you to know that my sewer lines are good now.
Good now.
Okay,
so yours was a mystery, because when we dug it all up, there was like a 10-foot piece of missing pipe. It was weird. Like, what happened?
I'm speechless. Why are you asking me what happened?
I don't know.
I've only lived there for a couple of years.
Yes. So, it's like they got tired of replacing the line, they just quit. That's close enough. That'll work. Get it away from the house.
It doesn't work that way. Okay, but my last house was built in the 1960s, built in 1967. It had lots of mature trees around it. Beautiful. I love trees. Love them. I hate them in the sewer line. So, built in the 1960s meant that we had the Orangeburg.
Orangeburg. I don't know how to spell Orangeburg either.
I don't either. In fact, I was looking at you to see if I was even saying it right.
Yep.
So, that means that it's more conducive to tree roots getting into it.
Right.
Then it breaks it, then it binds it up, and then as you flush, things start backing up, and pretty quick you got a problem.
Yeah, I need to read up what Orangeburg is again. But Orangeburg is like tar paper rolled up tight.
That's how they described it to me. They, a plumber, some years ago.
And so it's very pliable. Like it was kind of hard, but when tree roots will start growing around it, they just squeeze it. So you can't, it won't, I mean, most tree roots won't squeeze PVC pipe, they'll just grow around it. I mean, a big root could bend it or twist it, but
Sure.
but this is just, I mean, it was crazy. And then once it cracks, so it would dissolve on the bottom, and then it would just be open, and so tree roots would grow up from underneath. So Woodward has a whole bunch of that. So if you've
We
been
really
having,
do.
if you've been having some issues, and you live anywhere from like, let's say 9th Street to 22nd Street, and from Oklahoma to Cedar, and you're having some sewer line problems, you might want to look into this. There's lots of people that'll scope them. So Jerry Newell, with whatever his inspection company's called.
He's kind of, I guess you and I probably haven't really talked.
I talked to him this morning.
Really? Because he told me that he was out for a bit. Is he
would
back?
be. Not quite.
Oh, man.
But Newell
Inspection
Services.
Services.
Okay. He is now, he can do sewer line inspections.
That's fantastic.
Which is fantastic. So I told him that's a huge benefit in a bunch of these. I used to own a sewer snake, and then I broke it. But it's very valuable in certain places to do that.
Absolutely.
In fact, if the disclosures come in and they say, yeah, we clean our sewer like every year, and then when you talk about, working order again.
Right.
So if they mention that they've had their sewer line cleaned out at all in the last year, I would have a sewer line inspection done. No matter what, it's $250.
Absolutely.
It's $3,000 or $4,000. If it could be expensive.
Yes, it is.
To do a sewer line
Or more.
So I would get it. I would do that inspection, especially if you're any of these. Let's see, what is that edition? Probably the 50s to 80s, 70s.
I was going to say, I would go anywhere. If you're in the 50s to the 60s, 70s house age, if they were those years built, and if you've got lots of big trees, I'd do it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's $250.
It's totally worth it,
Totally
in my
worth it.
opinion.
And then, of course, if you find a problem, then it's something you can negotiate now that possibly the seller will help you fix, or you out and go buy a different house. I mean,
Right.
No big
And then
deal.
you don't have that headache after a closing.
Man,
Yeah.
it's a mess.
Because this is when it's going to happen on the coldest day of the year, and after dark,
Yeah, Friday night.
every stinking time.
Or
See what I did there?
Yes.
I cracked myself up. I didn't even mean to go there. Okay, I'm
My
sorry.
mother-in-law's always happened on Thanksgiving Day.
I was trying to think back to
Every year.
my other house. It was definitely in the fall, but I don't think it was
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
everybody shows up. She was already kind of having problems.
Oh, bless her heart. That
Bam.
stinks again.
It stinks.
I don't know what else to say. So let's move on again. Okay, so for reals, though, it's a good idea. Have those sewer lines inspected whenever you're buying a house. And that's something that we can help coordinate.
Yeah, so and that's a tree line. So springtime, your trees grow up. Fall time, your trees grow down. So that's why you have more sewer line problems in the fall than in the spring. So, and then speaking about trees, now is the time to be trimming your trees. So we had that massive cold come through and kill your bunch of trees. So there's a bunch of dead limbs.
Right.
Now is the time to go through there and prune all the dead out of your tree, because you can still see it before the leaves die and drop. And then it's also a great time to go ahead and prune off those tree limbs that are hanging over your house. They say to trim your trees in any month with an R. So not May, June, July, or August. And then really you really need to wait September 15th. October 1st is a little bit better. You want to make sure you don't have any more 100-degree days. But yeah, so tree trimming. And then there's some reputable tree trimming companies around town. There's also some people that just have a chainsaw and an axe and a ladder, and they go to work. So make sure you get some referrals when you go to do your tree trimming, because they can kill your trees. Certain trees don't need to be topped; that'll kill them. So if you have these gorgeous, huge, old, mature trees, they're very valuable.
They are.
It's hard to replace. It's impossible to replace in your lifetime. So call around and ask for some referrals before you just hire any tree trimming guy.
Got it. Okay, so up next, water.
Water.
So
Use.
like, I mean, there's 2 or 3 different ways that we can talk about that, but the first thing that comes to my mind are how many frozen pipes that we end up seeing because we forget to take our water hoses off of our water faucets outside.
Yep.
Come big freeze, then they freeze, breaks the line. You don't know that the line is broken until you start your water again next year to water your grass, and then you have a flooded bedroom.
Right. And I went ahead, we got 2 or 3 properties that have sprinkler systems. I went ahead and winterized several of them.
Because it's time. We need to do this right now,
it's
right?
November. Like, I mean, yeah, it's good to water your yard as long as you possibly can, but man, I don't want to be stuck. I had too many. If we got a cold front real quick, I'd be in trouble. So I've already started kind of watching properties. You know, houses we have on the market, I'm already telling them, hey, go ahead and take those hoses off. You're not going to use them, put them in your garage. That outside faucet, you know, you make sure you get it covered. If we get another cold slap like we did last year, and I'm blown away that we didn't have more frozen stuff than we did last year.
I know, we really haven't seen a lot of negative from it.
I'm
it
impressed.
Is shocking.
So, so walk around your house and be aware of that. Get your gutters cleaned out. So you're getting water running off your roof. Ice will hold up in your gutters, create weight, tear them down. So you need to make sure. I know this is probably a whole nother show, but we're talking about water. So I would clean. I mean, we're going to have fall season, so you're going to have leaves in your gutters anyway. So you'll need to be watching that.
And the other thing with that is when the gutters get full, then the water goes the opposite direction than where you want it to. So it goes back underneath your shingles. It's going to deteriorate your
decking.
Thank you. Yes. And that's why we have so many soffits and fascia that have so much deterioration, correct?
Yes. Well, yeah, we looked at the house yesterday that the
Oh,
roofing
man.
company, they didn't get the shingles all the way to the edge of the drip edge, and so you can see where it ran backwards up the roof and just ruined all of the fascia and soffit on that house. All the way around. I mean, it's been 20 years. Like, they should have caught it earlier.
Right.
The roof's got to be 20-some years old. But, man, it's amazing how fast water can just ruin a piece of property. So
Absolutely. So
be watching that.
Hey, did you know that Connie and Melinda Bank 7, this property that we closed today, 30 days. Another 30 day.
Wow.
That's crazy right now because it's so hard to get appraisals done.
Yeah.
They are whipping stuff out so fast.
How long did the other one that I went to today take?
Quite a bit longer. I think that was a different circumstance.
It was different because it was more of there was some hoops they had to jump through.
Yes, I think that, which goes back to the buyers and how qualified they are.
Yeah.
And if they need a little bit extra coaching to help them get qualified. Yeah. So back to some horrifying home trend designs of 2021. How about moss walls?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, moss walls reminds me of a house we looked at the other day that she preserved insects and pinned them to the walls.
That was so awesome. I
mean,
loved it.
I did
There were
collections
moths
when I was a
on
kid.
the ceiling in the kitchen, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that before.
Yes.
I wasn't even appalled.
I know, butterflies on limbs. They had like...
That was so cool. They had like this little playroom.
I mean, it was incredible.
Very unique. Very artistic.
I mean, the Cook boys would not have let any of that survive.
No.
So I know they didn't have Cook boys grow up in that house.
I think I would have wanted to touch it. Well, we know that I can't go anywhere where there's wallpaper because I did not. I was so careful. I put my hands in my pocket when we went through that
Speaking
house.
of horrifying, wallpaper.
I love wallpaper, taking it down.
That house had so much wallpaper.
Okay, now that house, I probably would have left that up.
I mean, I think they're going to need to.
Yeah, I don't think I would
They
take that down.
wallpapered their trim. Mm-hmm. They wallpapered, the doors.
She would cut out some of the designs from the wallpaper and then use them elsewhere as a design. So the flowers from the wallpaper would be somewhere else on a blank wall.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like, Grandma's house looked awesome.
It did.
Like, I literally went and I went, oh, I feel like I'm at Grandma's house.
Yes.
It was appealing to me.
Which
is bizarre because one of the things that says it's a horrifying home design trend of 2021 is minimalism.
Yeah.
And
well, that was the opposite.
yeah, it was so the opposite. Yes, like I usually don't like that much stuff, but I kept going, oh, Grandma's house, didn't I?
Yes, and the horrifying thing. So I'm gonna go to this. So we've looked at 3 properties that are the opposite of minimalists, and now they're in a panicky, stressed out of all of the stuff, and it's not worth
Right.
anything.
No, it's so sad.
It's really sad because they've got lifetimes of stuff that they've collected, so I met with one customer and a guy to liquidate today, and he basically said, "Yeah, I could probably sell all this stuff for $500 to $1,000, but it's going to cost me $2,500 to do it.
Right.
Let's just get a dumpster." I was like, "Holy smokes!" So that is another horrifying thing to do. Is stuff.
Too minimalistic is not good, but
Yes.
it's also it's wise to go ahead and be purging as you go and making sure that we don't keep keep holding on to unnecessary things in our homes.
I'm that guy. Like, I keep cleaning out storage buildings at the warehouse, at the office. I'm like, where does this stuff? It just keeps growing. Like, I'm afraid to get rid of it. It's worth $8. So.
I'm not. That's not who I am.
I know.
I don't keep
You're in
stuff.
charge now. Get rid of stuff.
No, it's not my stuff.
All right. Well, it is the Brian Kendra Show. Thanks for listening today. We'll be back next Thursday. We're around all weekend. If you want to go buy something, give us a shout.
580-334-2303.